Chosen one. Stop and pay attention. This moment is not ordinary. And this message is not random. Something in your spirit already knows it. Heaven has pressed pause on everything around you to make sure you hear this. The 9th of September is not just another date on the calendar. It carries weight in the spirit, a holy significance that calls you into silence. Silence is not weakness. Silence is not absence. Silence is alignment. When you remain quiet at the right time, you are not losing ground, you are gaining clarity. The world wants you to keep filling the air with words, reactions, and explanations. But heaven whispers a different command. It says, hold your tongue, still your heart, and watch what I will do. Think of the sea before a storm. The waves flatten. The wind ceases. And for a moment, the ocean holds its breath. That eerie calm is not empty. It is charged with power. That is what the 9th of September will be like for you. A divine stillness that unsettles the darkness because it cannot predict your next move. You have felt pressure to defend yourself, to explain yourself, to speak when no one is truly listening. But this is the hour where silence becomes your shield. Heaven has declared this day as a turning point. When you refuse to engage with noise, you step out of the trap the enemy set for you. The snares of gossip, conflict, and misunderstanding lose their power when you simply do not answer. As was spoken in the scroll of Habakkuk, chapter 2, verse 20, the Lord is in his holy temple. Let all the earth keep silence before him. Do you see it? Silence is not emptiness, it is reverence. Silence is the response of creation when standing before the majesty of heaven. On the 9th of September, your silence is more than self-control, it is worship. It is the acknowledgement that God is seated on his throne and nothing can shake him. Picture a warrior who holds back his sword while the enemy taunts him. That restraint is not weakness, it is power under control. Your silence will be the same. It will terrify the darkness because the enemy cannot manipulate what you do not speak. It will confuse those who expect your reaction because they will find only stillness. This is why you must guard your mouth on the 9th of September. Resist the urge to prove yourself. Refuse to justify what God himself is already defending. Stand in holy silence and let heaven speak for you. This is the act that marks you as different from the rest. Chosen one. If this word is resonating deep within you, don't keep it hidden. Share it so that others who are meant to walk in this silence can hear. And if you haven't yet, subscribe and stay close, because the instructions of heaven will keep unfolding. Write in the comments the number 999 as a prophetic declaration that you are aligning with this holy call. It is not just a number, it is a seal. It is your agreement with heaven's rhythm. Hold the silence. The 9th of September will not pass like any other day. It is a divine appointment, and when you obey, you will see what God has been preparing behind the scenes. Chosen one. Do not doubt this moment. The heavens are leaning close, waiting to see your obedience. One day of silence can shift years of struggle. Trust this call. Step into it fully, and watch the Lord reveal the hidden plans he designed for you. The 9th of September is not just a date. It is a marker in the unseen. The sacred weight of this day has been hidden from many, but revealed to the chosen ones who are willing to listen. This weight is not the kind you carry on your shoulders, but the kind that rests in the atmosphere pressing on your spirit until you realize something holy is unfolding. Every year has days that appear ordinary, yet are set apart. Think of Moses standing before a bush that burned but was not consumed. To any other traveler, it may have been just another thorn bush, but for Moses, it was the turning point of destiny. So it is with the 9th of September. To those asleep, it will pass unnoticed, but to those awake in the spirit, it will be recognized as a divine signal. Why this day? Because God operates in times and seasons. There are days that carry specific instructions, days that shift the trajectory of your path. The 9th of September is one of them. It has been woven into your story as a pause, a command to withhold your voice, so that heaven can deposit strategy and power into your silence. Imagine a locked gate with a hidden keyhole that only reveals itself when the light strikes at a certain angle. For most of the year, that keyhole remains invisible, but on appointed days, the light reveals it, and only those prepared can enter. That is what this date represents. It is a narrow window of alignment, when obedience to silence unlocks something no amount of noise could ever access. This sacred weight is not meant to burden you, but to awaken you. The Spirit is calling you to recognize that heaven orchestrated this moment long before you were even born. When you remain silent, you step into that orchestration, playing your part in a divine symphony that resounds far beyond what you can see. Consider how Joshua and the Israelites circled Jericho. For 6 days they walked in silence, carrying the weight of anticipation. Each step felt heavier because they knew something was building. That silence was not wasted. It was charged with power, storing up the shout that would finally bring the walls down. The 9th of September carries that same atmosphere. Your silence is preparation for something greater that is still unseen. There is also protection in this wait. Silence shields you from careless words that could sabotage the very promise God is preparing. How many times have people spoken too soon, revealing what was meant to stay hidden, only to see plans crumble? On the 9th of September, you are called to guard the sacred. Keep your words few, and you will keep your destinies safe. We are reminded through the writings of Solomon in the book of Proverbs, chapter 21, verse 23. Whoever keeps his mouth and his tongue keeps himself out of trouble. Trouble has often come through open lips, but safety is found in restraint. That is why this day is holy. It trains your tongue in the art of silence. It draws a line between you and the chaos of the world, marking you as one who belongs to heaven's rhythm, not man's noise. The sacred weight of the 9th of September is this: it is not about losing your voice. It is about discovering its power through silence. The world will not understand. They will look for your reaction and find none. They will expect your explanation and hear only stillness, but heaven will recognize it as obedience. And obedience is always the doorway to blessing. Hold this truth in your heart. The day has been chosen. The silence commanded, and the weight you feel is the fingerprint of God upon your life. You are not just passing through another date. You are standing on holy ground marked in eternity. You have already felt it, the war of voices that never stops. One voice tells you to push forward. Another whispers that you are not enough. One pulls you into arguments. Another tempts you into doubt. The unseen battle is not only fought with swords and shields, it is fought with words. The adversary knows the power of sound. He fills the air with chatter. endless opinions, arguments, and noise, hoping to drown out the still, small voice of God. That is why silence on the 9th of September is not optional for the chosen ones. It is your shield against confusion. When you choose silence, you choose clarity. Let me tell you a story. There was a chosen one who lived through a season of constant distraction. Every day they were pulled into conversations that left them drained, scrolling through endless voices until their spirit felt smothered. They longed for direction, but it seemed impossible to hear clearly. One night, they chose silence, no phone, no arguments, no explanations. And in that silence, they heard God whisper their next step. That one act of quiet shifted the entire course of their life. That story is not just theirs, it is yours waiting to happen. Because silence is the posture that allows you to receive instruction. Without it, you risk missing the gentle nudges that can only be discerned in stillness. Think of a flock of birds at sunrise. Their chorus fills the air so loudly that you can barely hear the wind. But when they suddenly take flight, silence falls. And only then do you hear the steady breeze. This is how spiritual noise works. It blinds you to the subtler voice of heaven. Unless you silence the crowd. The Spirit spoke through the prophet Elijah's encounter on the mountain. There was wind. There was earthquake. There was fire, but the Lord was not in them. Then came a gentle whisper, and Elijah covered his face in holy awe. This is the war of voices. Chosen one, the enemy sends the storm, but God sends the whisper. You must choose which you will give your attention to. We are reminded through the writings of James, chapter 1, verse 19. Let every person be quick to hear, slow to speak, slow to anger. Notice the order. Hearing comes first. Speaking comes last. The chosen ones understand this. They listen more than they respond. They discern before they declare, and that is why their words carry weight. When finally spoken, on the 9th of September, your silence will train you in this divine order. Now hear me. You will be tempted to react, to defend yourself, to prove something. That temptation will be the very sign of this war of voices. But victory is not found in noise. Victory is found in your restraint. And here is where I invite you to act prophetically. Write in the comments, quiet but strong. Do not dismiss these 3 words as simple. They are a declaration. When you write them, you are proclaiming that silence does not mean weakness, but unshakable strength. You are declaring to heaven and to yourself that you will not be swayed by the enemy's noise. You will stand firm, quiet yet immovable. On the 9th of September, let the world chatter. You will be different. You will remain silent. And in that silence, you will hear what many will miss. Silence is often misunderstood. Many see it as emptiness, passivity, or even weakness. Yet in the eyes of heaven, silence is a weapon sharpened against the schemes of darkness. When you hold your tongue at the right time, you are not stepping back. You are stepping into divine authority. Consider the posture of a skilled archer. He does not release the arrow in haste. He draws the bowstring back in complete stillness. Every breath is measured, every muscle steady, every heartbeat slowed. The silence before the release is what gives the arrow its force. So it is with you. Your silence is the preparation that gives your words and actions greater impact when the right moment comes. This is the power of holy silence. It creates space for heaven to move unhindered. When you stop filling the air with your own words, you make room for God's word to speak through you. Darkness thrives in noise because confusion blurs discernment, but silence clears the fog, leaving the enemy disoriented, unable to predict your next move. Think of Jesus before his accusers. He could have answered every false claim, dismantled every lie, silenced every critic with a single word. Yet often he chose silence. That silence was not weakness, it was sovereignty. His restraint fulfilled prophecy and revealed authority. Your silence on the 9th of September mirrors this posture, refusing to waste energy on voices that have no power over your destiny. We find guidance in the ancient words of Exodus, chapter 14. Verse 14, "The Lord will fight for you. You need only to be still." Oh, to be still does not mean to do nothing. It means to let the Almighty take his rightful place as your defender. Holy silence is an act of trust. It says, "I don't need to argue, because God himself is speaking for me." Oh, let me give you an image. Imagine a courtroom. The enemy is the accuser, piling up words against you, twisting narratives, presenting lies as if they were truth. Your instinct might be to shout, to defend, to prove. But in the heavenly courtroom, silence is your defense, because the judge himself rises to speak. When the judge speaks, every false word collapses. Your silence leaves room for his verdict, and his verdict is final. Holy silence is also refinement. It shapes your character, teaching you patience and self-control. Every time you resist the urge to respond in haste, you strengthen the muscles of discernment. You learn that not every battle is yours to fight. Not every voice deserves your reply. And not every provocation requires your energy. Look at nature. The seed buried in the soil does not demand attention. It does not shout its growth. Yet in silence, beneath the surface, transformation takes place. Roots stretch deep, life forms unseen, and one day, breakthrough bursts forth. Silence is like that seed. It looks inactive to the outside world, but in reality, it is the womb of your next season. The chosen ones know that silence is not about withdrawing, it is about positioning. You are positioning yourself to receive instructions that cannot be heard in the noise. You are aligning yourself with heaven's strategy. You are declaring, without speaking, that your trust is not in your voice, but in his. So when the 9th of September arrives, remember this truth: your silence is not emptiness. It is not avoidance. It is a weapon in the spirit. A bowstring pulled back. A courtroom left to the judge. A seed hidden in the earth. It is the stillness that terrifies darkness and invites heaven to act on your behalf. Noise is everywhere. It pushes in through headlines, conversations, endless scrolling, and the voices that demand you respond. Yet there is a difference between noise and knowing. Noise scatters your focus. Knowing anchors your soul. The chosen ones are not called to chase after the world's chatter. They are called to wait in silence until knowledge from heaven rises within them. Think of standing in a crowded marketplace where everyone is shouting at once. Each voice is demanding your attention. Each vendor promising that their words are the most important. But then imagine stepping out of that market and into a quiet garden. In the silence, you hear your own heartbeat, the rustle of leaves, and the soft voice of the Spirit guiding you. This is the difference. Noise shouts to control you. Knowing whispers to free you. It is tempting to measure your worth by how loudly you can speak, how fast you can react, or how much attention you can capture. But chosen ones learn a different rhythm. They know the loudest voices are often the emptiest. Real authority comes not from volume, but from alignment with truth. And truth is found in the silence where God dwells, according to what is revealed in the book of Proverbs, chapter 17, verse 27. The one who has knowledge uses words with restraint, and whoever has understanding is even-tempered. And knowledge is not about having endless words to offer. It is about restraint. The wise speak less, because they understand the weight of silence. The 9th of September is your practice ground for this wisdom. When you choose silence, you are not withholding out of fear, you are holding back out of strength. There was once a chosen one who constantly explained themselves. Every time someone misunderstood, they gave more words. Every time rumors spread, they defended themselves. But the more they spoke, the more tangled the situation became. One day, they stopped. They chose silence. Slowly, they noticed something when they no longer tried to prove themselves. The truth began to shine through on its own. Noise feeds insecurity, but knowing builds confidence. Silence shifts you from dependence on others' approval to resting in God's confirmation. And when you rest in Him, your steps grow steady, your spirit calm, and your eyes see clearer than before. Now, allow me to speak to you in an image. Imagine a lamp burning in a darkened room. The flame does not scream to be noticed. It simply glows. And because it glows, everyone in the room can see. This is what you are being invited into. When you live in knowing, not noise, you become that quiet flame. And if this flame within you feels real, if these words echo something you have already felt, then let it be more than a passing thought. Let it be a spark shared. By carrying this flame forward, you are not just helping yourself, you are becoming a light for others still trapped in the noise. Whether you pass the flame through a word, through a share, or by welcoming others into this journey, you are multiplying what heaven placed inside you. And just as the flame cannot remain hidden, neither can the truth you have encountered here. So if it burns within you, let it shine outward. Extend your hand. Kindle another flame. Let others see the glow. That is what it means when you like, when you subscribe, when you keep the fire alive. It is not for the sake of numbers, but for the spreading of light. Noise will always demand your attention, but knowing will always reward your silence. On the 9th of September, step out of the market of voices and into the garden of stillness. That is where you will find the voice that matters. There are moments when heaven asks not for action, not for argument, but for stillness. The 9th of September is one of those moments. Silence on that day is not about doing less, it is about receiving more. In quietness, you are positioned like a vessel waiting to be filled, like a soldier awaiting precise orders before the battle begins. Consider the way a seed rests in the soil. It cannot push itself open, nor can it command the rain to fall. It waits. It stays buried, unseen, and silent. Yet, in that stillness, heaven is at work. Roots press downward, life stirs upward, and the unseen process prepares the seed for the day. It will break the surface. On the 9th of September, you are that seed. Your silence is the soil where God's strategy grows. Prophetic stillness is not ordinary stillness. It is not the quiet of exhaustion or avoidance. It is the chosen silence of someone who knows that heaven speaks to the waiting heart. When you restrain your words, you train your spirit to hear. It is like turning the dial of a radio until the static fades and the signal becomes clear. The prophet Hosea once described how God allures his people into the wilderness so he can speak tenderly to them. Silence is that wilderness, a place away from distraction where your ears can finally catch the sound of his voice. The wilderness feels empty, but in truth, it is rich with revelation. The 9th of September carries this invitation. If you guard your silence, you will find that heaven does not leave the space empty, it fills it. We find in the writings of Isaiah, chapter 30, verse 15, "In repentance and rest is your salvation. In quietness and trust is your strength." End quote. This is the strength of the chosen ones, not in proving, not in defending, but in trusting enough to stay silent. Silence is the atmosphere where trust matures. Each moment you choose not to reply, not to argue, not to explain. You are declaring that God is trustworthy enough to speak for you. Let me share an image with you. Imagine a great orchestra preparing to play. The musicians lift their instruments. The audience leans in. But before the first note, there is a long pause. That silence is not awkward, it is electric. It carries weight, expectation, and the sense that something powerful is about to begin. That is what the 9th of September will be like. Your silence will be the pause before heaven's music breaks forth. And because this moment is so sacred, you are invited to mark it with a sign of agreement. Write the number 444 inches, the comments, not as superstition, not as empty ritual, but as a prophetic act. 4 is the number of stability, of foundation, of balance. When you write it, you are declaring, "I will build my life on the foundation of heaven's voice, not the noise of this world." Oh, this act may seem small, but it is like the seed in the soil. It looks hidden, but it is alive with meaning. By writing 444, you are aligning yourself with the rhythm of heaven, showing that you understand. Silence is not weakness but strength. On the 9th of September, the noise of the world will rage on, but you will stand differently. You will be quiet, rooted, steady like the seed, like the orchestra, like the vessel waiting to be filled. And in that stillness, heaven will pour out what the noise could never give. There are seasons when the chosen ones are hidden, not because they are forgotten, but because they are being prepared. The 9th of September will remind you of this truth. Silence is part of the discipline of those who are set apart. You may feel unseen, unheard, overlooked, even misunderstood. But heaven calls this the season of sharpening. Think of Joseph, sold into slavery by his own brothers. For years, his life was shaped not by the throne he dreamed of, but by the silence of waiting. He endured false accusations, prison walls, and the ache of being forgotten. Yet in that hidden place, God was forming wisdom, humility, and endurance. When the appointed time came, Joseph was ready not because of his noise, but because of his silence. Chosen one, do not despise the seasons when your voice seems silenced. when your influence feels small, or when your efforts go unnoticed. Those are the seasons where heaven does its deepest work. Just as an arrow must be drawn back before it flies forward, you too must be drawn into silence before you are released into your calling. The hidden ones know the pain of being misunderstood. You may have spoken words of truth that others dismissed. You may have carried dreams that others mocked. You may have offered love only to be met with rejection. These moments can tempt you to shout louder, to fight harder to be seen, but the Spirit whispers instead, remain silent, remain steady, remain faithful. We are reminded through the words of David in the Psalms, chapter 31, verse 20, in the shelter of your presence you hide them from all human intrigues. You keep them safe in your dwelling from accusing tongues. Silence, then, is not punishment, it is protection. God hides you from voices that would wound you before you are ready. He covers you from attacks that could derail your purpose too soon. The silence of the hidden season is heaven's shield around you. Picture a pearl forming within its shell. No one sees the layers of beauty building slowly in secret. From the outside, the shell looks ordinary, even unattractive, but within, under pressure and in silence, something precious is being crafted. That is you in your hidden season. The silence is not your prison, it is your process. You may feel the tension of wanting to break free, to be recognized, to finally step into the light. Yet if you emerge too soon, the pearl will not be finished, the arrow not sharpened, the seed not rooted deep enough. Heaven's timing is never late, but it is often slower than your impatience desires. The call to silence on the 9th of September is heaven's reminder to trust that hiddenness is not forever, but it is necessary. Do not confuse being unseen with being unimportant. The most vital parts of a tree are the roots hidden beneath the earth, unseen by the eye, yet holding the whole structure steady. In the same way, your hidden season of silence is building the unseen strength that will one day hold the weight of your calling. So, embrace the discipline of silence, even when it feels like exile. It is not exile, it is sanctuary. It is not rejection, it is refinement. The 9th of September will not only call you into silence for a day, but it will remind you of the value of every hidden season. For in the silence of obscurity, heaven sharpens its chosen ones for the battles and victories that lie ahead. Silence is not only preparation, it is intimidation to the darkness. When you choose to withhold your words on the 9th of September, you are not simply practicing restraint, you are frustrating every strategy that was set against you. The unseen realm pays attention to your response. When the enemy expects noise but finds stillness, he is left powerless. Darkness thrives on reaction. It feeds on arguments, on rash decisions, on words spoken without thought. Every snare laid in your path is designed to provoke you into speech that weakens your defense. But silence breaks the cycle. It is as if the enemy stretches out his hand, only to grasp at air. Confused because the trap no longer works. Think of Jesus standing before Pilate. The crowd shouted. Accusations flew. Lies were spoken as if they were truth. And yet, much of the time, he answered nothing. That silence was not defeat, it was dominion. Every unspoken word carried the weight of heaven's authority. The silence of Christ terrified the powers of darkness, because it revealed he was not their prisoner, he was their judge. This is the same power working in you. When you choose silence, you are declaring without words that you are untouchable in Christ. Your silence becomes a fortress around your spirit, keeping you safe from the fiery darts of accusation. The Apostle reminds us in his letter to the Ephesians, chapter 6, verse 11, "Put on the full armor of God, so that you can take your stand against the devil's schemes." Armor is not noisy. It is steady, protective, and unmoved. Silence functions like that armor. It is not passive, it is defensive strength. When you refrain from speaking, you are fastening a shield over your heart and mind, guarding yourself from schemes that rely on your reaction. Picture a battlefield at night. The enemy advances, expecting to hear the clash of weapons, the shouts of soldiers, the chaos of combat. But instead, there is only silence. The enemy falters, unsure, unsettled. The silence itself becomes a weapon, shaking their confidence, making them doubt their strategy. That is what your silence will do on the 9th of September. It will unsettle the forces set against you. This terrifies the darkness because it reveals something deeper. You are not controlled by the enemy's rhythm. You are aligned with heaven's. Your silence says, "I am not reacting to you. I am waiting on him." And in that waiting, power is released. Consider also how silence blinds the enemy. Words can reveal too much. They can expose your fears, your plans, even your weaknesses. But when you remain silent, you remain hidden. The enemy cannot attack what he cannot discern. Your silence keeps the enemy guessing, wandering in confusion, while heaven works unhindered on your behalf. Look again at nature. When snow falls heavily over the land, sound itself is muffled. Even the loudest steps are softened, hidden beneath the blanket of white. That is what silence does for you. It covers you, conceals you, and creates a holy hush that the enemy cannot penetrate. So on the 9th of September, understand this truth. Your silence is not empty space. It is armor. It is fortress. It is shield. It terrifies the darkness because it proves you are not bound by the schemes designed to provoke you. Instead, you walk under the covering of heaven, and no amount of noise can shake you. Silence is often mistaken for weakness, but in the kingdom of God, it is obedience that brings breakthrough. The 9th of September is not about doing nothing. It is about doing the exact thing heaven has asked of you. Even when the world cannot understand, choosing restraint is not surrender. It is the highest form of trust. The scriptures remind us again and again that the tongue holds power. Words can create or destroy, heal or wound, open doors or close them forever. That is why silence itself can become a prophetic act. When you refuse to speak, you are refusing to cooperate with the traps laid before you. What was meant to lure you into conflict becomes powerless because you chose not to respond. Think of a mighty river pressing against a dam. Day after day, the water builds, and yet it does not burst through immediately. It is restrained, waiting. Then, at the right moment, the floodgates open, and the release is unstoppable. Silence works the same way. It is not weakness, it is energy stored up for God's appointed time. We find in the book of Proverbs, chapter 10, verse 19, "When words are many, transgression is not lacking, but whoever restrains his lips is prudent." Restraint is wisdom. Restraint is power. And on the 9th of September, your restraint will speak louder than any words could. There was a chosen one who once faced constant accusations every time they spoke to defend themselves. It seemed only to fuel the fire. Finally, they heard the Spirit whisper, "Be still." The silence was uncomfortable at first. But soon, something remarkable happened. The accusers grew weary. Their own words exposed them, and the truth rose without defense. Silence had done what explanations never could. This is why your silence is prophetic. It declares that you belong to a kingdom not swayed by arguments, not shaken by falsehood, not trapped in endless debates. Your silence is obedience, and obedience always precedes breakthrough. Now, here is your invitation to mark this moment. Write in the comments, "Hidden but ready." These 3 words are more than a phrase. They are a declaration. When you write them, you are saying to heaven and to yourself, "I may be silent. I may be unseen, but I am prepared. My spirit is steady. My faith is rooted. And when God says move, I will move." It is the cry of a warrior in waiting, a seed beneath the soil, a flame hidden but never extinguished. So when the 9th of September comes, let silence be your weapon, your shield, and your declaration. Others may shout, argue, or demand your voice, but you will remain still, and in that stillness, heaven will move on your behalf. Your comment, "Hidden but ready," is not only an act of agreement, but a reflection of your journey. To be hidden is to be protected, placed under heaven's covering while you are being strengthened. To be ready is to be alert, sharpened, and waiting for the appointed time when God reveals you. By writing those words, you are proclaiming that silence is not stagnation, but preparation. You are declaring that you will not rush ahead of God's timing, nor will you waste energy on battles that are not yours. Instead, you will stand in stillness, confident that when the command comes, you will rise unstoppable. There is a reason silence prepares the way. It clears space for God to speak. In the quiet, the whispers of heaven become thunder to your spirit. The noise of the world fades, and suddenly, direction arrives like light breaking through a darkened room. On the 9th of September, silence is not the end of the story. It is the doorway to revelation. Think of a painter staring at a blank canvas. The silence before the first stroke is heavy, but it is sacred. In that pause, vision takes shape. Every color, every brushstroke is born out of the stillness. That is what your silence will become, the blank canvas upon which God will paint his instructions for your life. Or imagine a farmer at dawn. The field is hushed, covered in dew. Before the tools touch the soil, there is only silence. Yet that stillness carries the promise of harvest. The farmer does not doubt the seeds, he waits, because he knows growth is happening underground. In the same way, your silence carries the promise of what is about to bloom. We read in the Gospel of John, chapter 10, verse 27, "My sheep listen to my voice, I know them, and they follow me." Oh, hearing requires silence. The sheep do not compete with the shepherd's voice. They quiet themselves so they can recognize it. And once they hear it, their steps are secure. On the 9th of September, your silence will tune your ears to the shepherd's call, guiding you into clarity where Once there was confusion. Many chosen ones have missed instructions because the world was too loud. They rushed to speak, to defend, to prove. And in the noise, they missed the whisper. But those who dare to keep silence discover something different. In that hush, strategies unfold, answers appear, and peace begins to steady the heart. Silence becomes the sacred ground where heaven meets earth. I want you to see another image, a sculptor chiseling stone. The hammer does not strike constantly. Between every blow is silence. In those pauses, the vision takes form. Without the silence between strikes, the work would be chaos. The pauses give shape. So it is with your life. The silences of obedience carve you into the person heaven designed you to be. And now, let me speak to your heart. If this message has painted something real on the canvas of your spirit, let it not remain only within you. When you like, you are saying, this truth resonates. When you share, you are extending the harvest to another soul, still trapped in noise. When you subscribe, you are choosing to remain close to the flow of this journey, not as obligation, but as one who longs to stay near the fire that keeps burning. These actions are not empty gestures. They are reflections of what is stirring inside you. Just as a lamp placed on a stand gives light to everyone in the room, your engagement allows this flame to reach further, bringing warmth to others who need it most. So let your silence become the canvas, the field, the pause between the sculptor's strikes, and let your simple act of agreement, whether it be a like, a share, or a subscription, become another stroke of light, extending the beauty of what heaven is doing through you. So, when the 9th of September comes, hold your silence as the sacred pause. Let it be the blank canvas, the fertile soil, the sculptor's rest between strikes, and let every step of obedience remind you heaven's voice is not far. It is waiting, and it will speak. Silence does more than position you for revelation. It shields you from unseen dangers. Many attacks never strike because silence removes their target. When you keep your words guarded, you leave no opening for the enemy to twist them. Silence becomes a hidden fortress, a shelter where you are safe from snares that others cannot even see. Consider how many conflicts are fueled by words. An argument begins, not because of action, but because of speech. Rumors spread because tongues cannot rest. Entire relationships break under the weight of words never meant to be spoken. Yet when silence is chosen, the fire has no fuel. It burns out before it ever consumes. On the 9th of September, silence will be your shield in the very same way. We find guidance in the book of Psalms, chapter 91, verse 1. Whoever dwells in the shelter of the Most High will rest in the shadow of the Almighty. 1. The shadow of the Almighty is not noisy, it is calm, still, and covering. Silence draws you under that shadow. It places you where no accusation can reach, no weapon can pierce, and no scheme can prosper. While others are entangled in arguments, you are hidden in peace. Picture a city wrapped in thick fog. From the outside, it looks as though the city has disappeared. The enemy may search for it, but his eyes cannot pierce the haze. That is what silence does for you. It cloaks you in holy obscurity, making you invisible to schemes designed to harm you. There was once a chosen one who faced constant pressure to respond. Every word spoken was twisted, every explanation used against them. At last, they chose to remain silent, entrusting their defense to God. In time, what was hidden in the fog became clear. The accusations dissolved, and the truth stood firm without them needing to speak a single word. Silence had been their safeguard. Another image. Imagine a fortress with gates sealed shut. The enemy may circle, but without entry. Their strength is wasted. Your silence closes the gates. Loose words swing them open, but restraint keeps them locked. This is why the 9th of September matters so deeply, because on that day, silence is more than discipline. It is divine protection. The hiddenness of silence also preserves energy. Words can drain you, scattering your strength into arguments that bear no fruit, but silence keeps your spirit steady. It is like a reservoir holding water, untouched, until it is needed. When you are silent, you are not empty, you are preserved. The world often mistakes silence for passivity, yet silence is intentional. It is active protection. It is the act of stepping under God's shield rather than standing exposed in the open field of constant speech. When you remain silent, you are not vulnerable, you are untouchable, because you are sheltered. So understand this. On the 9th of September, your silence will not only prepare you for revelation, but will keep you hidden from harm. Words that could have entangled you will never be spoken. Accusations that could have wounded you will have no ground. Attacks that could have struck you will glance off the shield of silence. Walk into that day knowing this truth. Silence is your fortress, your fog, your shield. It is not just about withholding your voice. It is about standing covered under the Almighty's shadow, untouchable, unseen, and secure. Walk confidently. Then, into the silence of the 9th of September, let every unspoken word remind you that heaven has already surrounded you. No weapon can find its mark. No accusation can break through, because the shield of silence is stronger than steel. Rest in it and remain unshaken. There are moments when God marks his chosen ones with signs, not because he needs proof, but because we need reminders. The 9th of September is such a moment. Silence on that day is not empty discipline. It is a prophetic act. And prophetic acts often carry symbols, visible markers of invisible truths. Numbers in Scripture are never random. They carry rhythm, meaning, and hidden revelation. Just as 7 spoke of completion and 12 spoke of order, so too does each number hold a message from heaven. To mark this day is to align yourself with that rhythm, to declare with faith what heaven is already orchestrating. We read in the book of Haggai, chapter 2, verse 9, "The glory of this present house will be greater than the glory of the former house, says the Lord Almighty, and in this place I will grant peace." The number 199 speaks of crossing from one season into the beginning of another. 1, the start. The first, the foundation. 9, the ending of what must close. And another 9, the witness of completion sealed. Together, 199 is a reminder that endings are never empty. They are the doorway to beginnings greater than the past. Think of a sunrise cresting over the horizon. For long hours, the night has reigned. Yet suddenly, light breaks forth. The silence of dawn is filled with promise, and the new day begins. That is what 199 represents, not simply another morning, but the turning of the page. the beginning that emerges right as another chapter ends. Or imagine a traveler reaching the end of a long desert road. Dust covers their feet. Thirst has wearied their body. But just ahead, a spring bubbles in the valley. The desert season is finished, and the way forward begins. That is what you declare when you mark yourself with 199. When you write 199 inches the comments, you are not typing digits on a screen. You are speaking agreement with heaven's promise of endings sealed and beginnings opened. You are declaring that the silence of the 9th of September is not wasted, it is transition. It is your way of saying, I believe the old is finished, and I step forward into what heaven is making new. End of thought. This act may look simple, but it is prophetic. Just as Israel marked their doorposts with blood and were passed over by destruction, so too your marking with 199 is a sign. It sets you apart, saying to heaven, I am ready for the next chapter. Remember, silence itself is your obedience, but marking it with 199 is your declaration. It tells both heaven and earth that you are ready to close what must close and embrace what must begin. So on the 9th of September, remain silent. And even before that day comes, let your spirit agree now. Write the number. Declare the transition. And let your silence become the birthplace of what is to come. The number 199 is more than digits. It is a map. The 1 reminds you that God alone is the Alpha, the beginning of every journey. The first 9 speaks of endings, a closing of cycles you no longer need to carry. The second 9 seals it, declaring that completion has truly arrived. Together, they form a bridge. You are not left wandering between chapters. You are being carried across. When you write 199, you declare that silence is your crossing point, where old battles die and new victories rise. It is your way of saying, I embrace closure and I welcome beginning. Silence is not only a shield or a signal, it is also pruning. To be chosen means to be refined, and refinement is rarely comfortable. The silence of the 9th of September is not a punishment. It is the gentle blade of the gardener cutting away what no longer bears fruit, so that more life can come. Jesus himself said that every branch bearing fruit is pruned so that it may bear even more. This is the mystery of silence. It feels like loss, but it is actually preparation for increase. When you are silent, you are surrendering your need to hold on, giving space for God to remove what hinders your growth. Consider the life of Joseph once more. Stripped of his coat, thrown into a pit, sold as a slave, he endured pruning that cut away pride, immaturity, and dependence on others' approval. Each silent season seemed cruel, but each one drew him closer to the throne God had prepared. What looked like subtraction was actually multiplication waiting to happen. We hear this truth in the Gospel of John, chapter 15, verse 2. Every branch in me that does not bear fruit, he takes away. And every branch that does bear fruit, he prunes, that it may bear more fruit. End quote. Silence works like pruning shears. Words that would have grown wild and tangled are cut back. Habits of speaking too quickly, of defending too fiercely, of explaining too often, these are trimmed away in silence. What remains is strength, clarity, and the capacity to carry fruit without breaking. Think of a vineyard in winter. The vines look barren, stripped of leaves. branches shortened until they appear lifeless. To the untrained eye, it seemed destructive, yet the vine dresser knows what he is doing. Each cut is intentional, shaping the vine for a harvest that will come in due season. Your silence feels like that winter, empty, painful, misunderstood. But heaven is pruning you for the abundance to come. Pruning also preserves. Without it, the weight of too many branches would pull the vine to the ground. Without silence, the weight of too many words can pull you into ruin. God cuts back, not to weaken you, but to strengthen you for the glory He is preparing to place on your life. Let me give you another picture. Imagine a warrior sharpening his blade. Each scrape against the stone removes a layer of dullness, making the edge keen. It is a stripping process, but it brings effectiveness. That is silence on the 9th of September. It sharpens you. It removes the dullness of endless words and reactions, leaving you sharp, ready, and precise. And there is more. Silence teaches humility. When you remain silent, you surrender the need to always be heard, always be right, always have the last word. In that surrender, pride is pruned, and when pride is cut away, humility grows, and with humility comes grace. Chosen one. If you feel that silence is uncomfortable, remember this: the pain of pruning is always temporary, but the fruit it brings is lasting. Endings are hard, but they are not the end. The gardener never cuts without vision. Every silence he calls you into has purpose written into it. So as the 9th of September approaches, understand that the silence you are called into is not punishment, but pruning. It is not loss, but shaping. It is not rejection, but refinement. What feels like cutting back is actually heaven, preparing you to carry more peace, more wisdom, more strength, more fruit. Silence not only prunes, it also crowns. The chosen ones are not called into silence simply to endure hardship, but to be prepared for glory. The 9th of September will remind you that restraint is not the end of your story, it is the path toward honor. For those who endure in silence, a crown is reserved. Think of a runner nearing the finish line. The crowd shouts, the body aches, and everything within cries out to stop. Yet in the final stretch, endurance is tested most. Silence works the same way. It tests your spirit in the moments when words could spill out, when arguments could be joined, when pride could demand to be heard. Yet when you choose silence, you are proving that your strength is greater than your impulse. That is the kind of endurance that heaven crowns. The Apostle Paul once wrote to Timothy of a crown of righteousness laid up for those who remain faithful until the end. Crowns are not given to the half-hearted, they are given to the disciplined. Silence is discipline. It is the act of saying, I trust God's timing more than my own urge to speak. That kind of trust is what positions you for the honor set aside for the chosen. We hear it in the second letter to Timothy. Chapter 4, verse 8. Now there is in store for me the crown of righteousness, which the Lord, the righteous judge, will award to me on that day, and not only to me, but also to all who have longed for his appearing. Silence may feel like being overlooked, but heaven is watching closely. Every withheld word, every moment of restraint, every choice to stay quiet rather than lash out, it is all seen. And in heaven's eyes, those choices are not weakness, but victory. The crown is given not for how loudly you spoke, but for how faithfully you endured. Imagine a throne room where a crown sits waiting. The seat is empty, but the crown is prepared. Angels know who it belongs to. Heaven knows whose head it is meant to rest upon. Your silence on the 9th of September is part of the journey toward that throne. It is a declaration that you are willing to wait, to endure, to let God lift you rather than forcing your own promotion. Another image, a blacksmith forging a crown. The metal must first be placed into the fire, softened by heat, shaped by hammer. Each strike seems harsh, yet each one is crafting beauty. So too does silence shape you. The fire of restraint softens your heart. The hammer of patience forms your spirit, until at last the crown fits the one who has been made ready to wear it. Silence does not mean you will never speak. It means that when your words come, they will carry weight because they were birthed in restraint. And when they do, those words will shine like gold, rare, refined, valuable. That is part of your crown too, the honor of having a voice that truly matters. So do not despise the silence. Do not see it as punishment. See it as training for royalty. The crown is not placed upon those who demand attention, but upon those who are faithful in hiddenness, faithful in restraint, faithful in silence. On the 9th of September, every quiet moment is another step closer to the throne prepared for you. Heaven is not asking for silence to rob you, it is asking for silence to crown you. There is a mystery in the rhythm of silence. After stillness comes the sound of heaven's thunder. The walls of Jericho did not fall because of constant noise. They fell after days of silence and one appointed shout. The 9th of September carries this same principle. The silence you hold will not end in emptiness. It will end in power that shakes what once stood immovable. Think of a storm building on the horizon. The air grows heavy. The sky turns dark. And for a moment, everything is strangely still. Then, without warning, thunder cracks open the sky. That thunder is born from silence, and it carries force no man can command. So too will your silence build until heaven releases its thunder through you. The book of Joshua, chapter 6, verse 10, records this truth. But Joshua commanded, "Do not give a war cry, do not raise your voices, do not say a word, until the day I tell you, then shout." The silence of obedience prepared the way for the sound of victory. This is your story as well. You have been asked to wait, to hold back words, to guard your voice. But this waiting is not for nothing. The silence you carry now will one day give way to a shout so full of heaven's authority that strongholds crumble and doors swing open. Let me paint you an image. Imagine a violinist standing before an audience. Before the first note is played, the bow hovers in stillness above the strings. That pause heightens the beauty of what is to come. Then the music begins, and the silence that preceded it makes every note more powerful. Your silence is like that bow held steady, an anticipation that makes the release unforgettable. Or picture an eagle perched on a cliff edge. For a long while, it does nothing. No wing beat, no flight, only waiting. Yet at the right moment, it stretches its wings and dives into the wind with force and grace. The stillness made the soaring possible. That is what heaven is training you for, the thunder that follows your silence. Now, if this word has awakened something deep within, do not let it pass quietly. Just as thunder carries across valleys, Let what you have received here carry further, when you like. It is as if you are striking a chord on the violin, allowing the note to ring clear. When you share, you are spreading the thunder beyond your own horizon, letting others feel the power of what heaven is doing. When you subscribe, you are choosing to remain where the music continues, not missing the next movement of this divine symphony. And as for your voice, mark this moment with a declaration in the comments. The thunder comes. These 3 words are not empty. They are a prophecy. They declare that the silence you honor will not remain forever, but will give way to a release so powerful that nothing can withstand it. By writing them, you are stepping into agreement with the rhythm of heaven. Silence first, then thunder. So let your obedience be like Jericho's march, your stillness like the eagle's wait, your voice like the violinist's pause. And when the appointed time comes, let your shout, your thunder, shake the walls that once seemed unshakable. So step into the silence of the 9th of September with courage. Let it be your march, your pause, your waiting. For when the silence breaks, heaven's thunder will roll through your life, and nothing standing against you will remain. Silence on the 9th of September is not just about restraint, it is about rhythm. Heaven has its own cadence, a flow that does not bend to the urgency of the world. To align with that rhythm is to step out of chaos and into divine order. Your silence is the pause that helps you find the beat of eternity. There is a time to speak and a time to remain silent. Wisdom lies in knowing which moment you stand in. Many stumble because they speak when they should wait, or they wait when they should declare. But chosen ones learn to move with heaven's timing. Silence is how you measure that timing. It teaches you to wait for the right note in heaven's song. We read in Ecclesiastes, chapter 3, verse 7, a time to tear, and a time to sow, a time to keep silence, and a time to speak. This is not only poetry, it is instruction. Your silence on the 9th of September will be more than discipline, it will be alignment. You are saying with your silence, I trust heaven's rhythm more than my own impulses. And when you do that, your life begins to flow in harmony with the greater song of creation. Think of an orchestra again. If one musician rushes ahead or lags behind, the entire piece loses its beauty. But when every player listens, when every note falls in its place, the music becomes transcendent. Your silence is not absence, it is listening to the conductor. And when you listen, you know exactly when to enter with strength. Or picture a dancer who pauses mid-movement. The stillness is not a mistake, it is part of the choreography. The pause gives power to the next step. Without silence, the dance would be frantic, chaotic, empty. But with silence, every motion carries meaning. In the same way, your life gains beauty when you move in sync with heaven's pauses. Silence also reveals where you have been out of rhythm. It shows you the moments where you were rushing to fix what God had not asked you to fix, or where you hesitated to move when He was already opening a door. Silence resets you. It recalibrates your steps to heaven's time. Consider the tides of the ocean. They come in and go out, not rushed, not forced, but steady under the pull of the moon. No one can command them to rise sooner or retreat faster. They move by design, not demand. That is how your silence functions. It places you back under design, not under demand. Chosen one, do not fear the pause. The pause is where strength is hidden. It is the breath between words, the rest between notes, the stillness between battles. On the 9th of September, when you embrace silence, you are not doing less. You are becoming synchronized with the eternal rhythm. This is what terrifies the enemy most, that you no longer dance to his tune. His strategy is to push you into haste, to make you react, to rush you out of alignment. But your silence breaks his rhythm. It pulls you back into God's. And when you walk in God's rhythm, every step carries authority. So enter the 9th of September with this in mind. Silence is not only obedience, it is alignment. It is the pause that brings harmony, the rest that makes the music, the tide that moves steady by design. When you honor the silence, you are no longer swayed by chaos. You are flowing with heaven itself. There is a final truth to understand about silence. It does not leave you weaker. It reveals that you are unstoppable. The 9th of September is not a day of loss, but of marking. It is the seal that sets you apart as one of heaven's chosen, strengthened not by your words, but by your obedience. The journey has brought you through waiting, through pruning, through protection, and through alignment. Every part of silence has been shaping you into something unshakable. The world may see your stillness and think you are passive, but heaven knows better. Silence is not the absence of power. It is the sign that you carry a power not of this world. We read in the book of Romans, chapter 8, verse 37, "No, in all these things we are more than conquerors through him who loved us." More than conquerors, not merely survivors, not merely voices among the noise. Silence proves that your strength comes not from fighting every battle, but from knowing which battles are already won. When you remain silent, you are declaring, "I am not conquered by impatience, by provocation, by distraction. I am already victorious." Oh, think of a mountain standing through centuries of storms. Wind may howl, rivers may rise, lightning may strike, but the mountain does not move. Its silence is not weakness, it is permanence. That is what you become through silence, unmoved, unbroken, unshaken. Or imagine a torch glowing in the night. It does not need to shout. It does not need to compete. Its flame simply burns, and by burning it, makes darkness retreat. Your silence is that flame. It terrifies the shadows, not because of words, but because of presence. The chosen ones marked by silence are unstoppable because they do not react to every distraction. They move only when heaven says, "Move." And when they move, nothing can stand in their way. The silence of the 9th of September will train you in this unstoppable rhythm, quiet when the world demands noise, steady when the world wavers, strong when the world crumbles. Consider a warrior who has survived many battles. Their scars tell a story, yet their silence tells more. They do not boast of every victory, nor explain every wound. They carry themselves with a calm authority that says, "I have already overcome." That is the authority you are stepping into. Silence on the 9th of September is not a single act. It is a declaration of identity. You are not just enduring a day. You are proclaiming who you are. You are the chosen, the marked, the crowned. You are the one who terrifies darkness not with noise, but with presence. The enemy cannot conquer silence because silence is rooted in trust, and trust in God is unbreakable. On the 9th of September, as you remain silent, Remember that you are not simply obeying, you are being marked. Marked as unstoppable, marked as unshakable, marked as chosen. So let the day come, let the silence settle, and as you hold your tongue, let heaven inscribe on your spirit the truth. You are more than a conqueror. You are a torchbearer in the night, a mountain that does not move, a warrior crowned with victory. So when the 9th of September passes, you will not leave it the same. The silence you honored will remain in you as strength, as clarity, as authority. You will walk forward carrying the crown of endurance, the shield of restraint, and the fire of heaven's presence. And every step you take will remind the world you were silent, but you were never weak. Chosen one, you have walked through the journey of silence and discovered its hidden strength. The 9th of September is not merely a date, it is a divine rehearsal for your destiny. In silence, you were pruned, shielded, aligned, and crowned. And now, as the story closes, you step into the truth. Silence was never about emptiness, it was about transformation. You are no longer the same. The quiet has become your strength. The restraint has become your weapon. The stillness has become your crown. You have been marked by heaven as one who is unstoppable, unshakable, unmovable. But this truth is not meant for you alone. Imagine a torch carried through the night. Its flame is not meant to stay in one hand, it is meant to be passed, multiplied, until the darkness retreats entirely. When you like, it is as if you lift your torch higher, letting the glow be seen. When you share, you are passing that flame to another, ensuring the fire does not go out. When you subscribe, you are choosing to walk with this circle of torchbearers, never standing in the dark alone. And your comment is not small, it is your spark. In the comments, let your words burn as testimony. The silence shaped me. That testimony becomes another torch in the line, lighting the path for those who will one day need to walk where you have walked. So let this be more than words. Let it be fire. The silence of the 9th of September is not the end. It is the drumbeat before the march, the torch before the dawn, the sign that heaven is moving. Lift your flame, pass it on, and let the light spread until no darkness remains.